Bonjour, Paul.
Bonjour, Estelle. In the last few lessons, we learned how to ask what time something is happening.
À quelle heure est le film?
À 7 heures du soir.
Now we're going to use this question. À la gare. At the train station.
Let's say we're taking a train to Paris. The first thing we'll need to know is when the train, le train, is leaving.
Oui. To ask what time does the train leave, you'll say à quelle heure part le train?
You know what à quelle heure and le train mean, but what about part?
Part means leaves.
Part. À quelle heure part le train? Notice that this question has a different order than in English.
Right. It literally means at what time leaves the train? À quelle heure part le train?
And to answer a question like à quelle heure part le train, you can say le train part and then the time. For example, le train part à 7 heures. The train leaves at 7 o'clock.
Le train part à 7 heures.
Or le train part à 8 heures. 8 is 8 in French.
8. Le train part à 8 heures. The train leaves at 8 o'clock. Now you try. Repeat after me. Le train part. Le train part à 8 heures. Now ask, what time does the train leave? In French. Excellent. À quelle heure part le train? If you're talking to a friend about their trip, instead of asking, à quelle heure part le train, you can ask, what time are you leaving? À quelle heure tu pars?
À quelle heure tu pars? Do you hear how part sounds the same in à quelle heure tu pars and à quelle heure part le train?
Yup. Part in tu pars and part in le train part are spelled differently, but they sound exactly the same. Are you ready to practice? Repeat after me. Tu pars. Le train part. Now ask, what time are you leaving? In French. Super. À quelle heure tu pars? So now we know how to talk about when you leave and when the train leaves. Let's hear this in a quick conversation.
Salut Christophe, à quelle heure tu pars pour Paris?
Je pars à 8 heures.
What time does Christophe part?
He said, je pars à 8 heures. So he leaves at 8.
That's right. Christophe is in Lyon and he's taking the TGV to Paris. That's France's high-speed train. So even though it would be a 4-hour car ride, he can get there on the TGV in about 2 hours.
Wow, that's pretty fast. So what time would he arrive?
À quelle heure tu arrives à Paris, Christophe?
J'arrive à 10 heures.
Did you notice how the woman asked, à quelle heure tu arrives?
Yup. Tu arrives. Arrive means arrive.
Arrive. And Christophe answered with, j'arrive à 10 heures. That's, I arrive at 10 o'clock.
J'arrive.
Just like part, arrive will also sound the same whether it's j'arrive, tu arrives, or le train arrive.
How about you try now? Repeat after me. J'arrive. Tu arrives. Le train arrive. I don't know about you, Paul, but all this talk about trains makes me want to travel.
I think it's time to book our next trip. But for now, let's listen to a conversation about one of our French speakers' next trips.
Salut Christophe, tu vas où?
Je vais à Paris.
À quelle heure tu pars?
Je pars à 8 heures.
Et à quelle heure tu arrives à la gare de Paris?
J'arrive à Paris à 10 heures.
Super, bon voyage!
Did you hear where Christophe's going on this trip?
Oui, Christophe va à Paris. He's going to Paris.
Lucky Christophe. I wish I was going to Paris too.
Me too. At least now we can talk to people there about when our train part et arrive. In the last lesson, we learned how to ask when le train is leaving. À quelle heure part le train?
Oui, and we learned how to answer too. Le train part à 5 heures.
Let's hear this in action.
Salut Christophe, à quelle heure tu pars pour Paris?
Je pars à 10 heures.
Et à quelle heure tu arrives à Paris?
J'arrive à midi.
So Christophe arrives à midi. That means at noon. À midi.
À midi. J'arrive à midi.
Let's try another one. Now Christophe is talking to his American friend Dave.
Salut Dave.
Salut Christophe. À quelle heure tu pars pour Lyon?
Je pars à midi.
Et à quelle heure tu arrives à Lyon?
J'arrive à 14 heures.
À 14 heures?
Dave sounds pretty surprised to hear that Christophe is arriving at 14 heures, or 14 o'clock.
Yes, but in France it's common to use the 24-hour clock, especially to talk about precise timetables, like train schedules. So 14 o'clock, or 14 heures, is 2 p.m.
Right, it's like military time. Let's catch that train at 1400 hours, soldier.
But let's say Christophe isn't arriving at 14 heures, but at 3 p.m. or 15 o'clock. He'd say, J'arrive à 15 heures.
J'arrive à 15 heures. I arrive at 15 o'clock. But what if I said j'arrive à 16 heures?
Well, 16 means 16, so J'arrive à 16 heures means I arrive at 16 o'clock, or 4 p.m.
It can definitely take a bit to get used to the 24-hour clock, but don't worry, you'll get the hang of it eventually.
That's right. And now it's your turn to try out these numbers. Repeat after me. 14 heures. 15 heures. 16 heures. Now say, I arrive at 16 o'clock in French. Bravo! J'arrive à 16 heures.
Okay, let's put it all together à la gare, at the train station.
Bonjour. À quelle heure part le train pour Paris?
À 14 heures.
Et à quelle heure le train arrive à Paris?
À 16 heures.
Bien, je voudrais un billet, s'il vous plaît.
15 euros, s'il vous plaît.
So, what happened in that conversation? The woman is leaving à 14 heures, or 2 p.m., and arriving in Paris à 16 heures, or 4 p.m.
And her ticket cost 15 euros, 15 euros.
Exactement. Now it's your turn. Imagine you're taking the train to Paris. The train leaves at 10 heures du matin and arrives at noon. Answer your friend's question about your trip.
À quelle heure tu arrives à Paris?
Super! J'arrive à midi.
Let's try another one. And remember, you'll need to use the 24-hour clock.
À quelle heure tu arrives à Paris?
Say, my train arrives at 2 p.m. in French. Très bien. J'arrive à 14 heures.
Hopefully you're getting the hang of that 24-hour clock.
Let's listen to one last conversation.
Salut Sophie. À quelle heure part ton train pour Paris?
Je pars à 13 heures.
Et tu arrives à quelle heure?
J'arrive à Paris à 14 heures.
Super. Bon voyage.
So, when is Sophie getting to Paris?
À 14 heures. So that's 2 p.m.
Oui. Now we're definitely ready to buy a ticket, read a timetable, and tell our friends when to meet us à la gare. Are you ready to get some practice talking about travel plans? First, let's hear everything we've learned in these past couple of lessons in a conversation.
Salut Marie. À quelle heure part ton train?
Je pars à midi.
Et tu arrives à quelle heure?
J'arrive à Paris à 14 heures.
Super. Bon voyage.
Now picture yourself at a train station in Paris, La Gare du Nord, the North Station. It's the busiest train station in Europe, and there are people rushing all around you.
You're on your way to catch a train to Lille, a beautiful city in northern France. Suddenly, you bump into your friend, Claire, who seems to have just arrived in Paris. Claire says, hello.
Salut.
Say, hello, Claire, how are you? In French. Parfait. Salut, Claire, ça va?
Claire responds,
Ça va bien? Et toi? Tu vas où?
Say, I am going to Lille. In French. Très bien. Je vais à Lille.
Claire quickly checks the time and asks,
À quelle heure tu pars?
Say, I am leaving at 1 p.m. In French. Super. Je pars à 13 heures.
Claire asks you another question.
Ah, et à quelle heure tu arrives à Lille?
You're taking the TGV, so it'll only take you an hour to get there. Say, I arrive in Lille at 2 p.m. In French. Bravo! J'arrive à Lille à 14 heures.
You better get to your train so you can find a good seat.
When Claire wishes you a good trip, say, thank you, goodbye, in French.
Bon voyage.
Excellent! Merci, au revoir.
It's so fun to bump into friends like that.
Oui. Let's practice talking about travel plans in one more conversation. This time, imagine that you're flying to Toulouse for the summer.
Oh, Toulouse, in southwest France. I love that city.
You're already inside the airport and you run into another friend, Maurice.
Another friend? Wow, what a coincidence. Maurice says hello and then asks where you're going.
Salut, tu vas où?
Say, I'm going to Toulouse. And you? In French. Très bien. Je vais à Toulouse. Et toi?
Ah, Toulouse. Je vais à New York.
Your flight's in 2 hours, so you wonder if Maurice may have time to catch up.
Ask Maurice. At what time is your flight? In French. Excellent. À quelle heure est ton vol?
Maurice says,
Mon vol est à 14 heures. À quelle heure est ton vol?
Tell Maurice that you are leaving at 1 p.m. or 13 o'clock. Parfait. Je pars à 13 heures.
It looks like you both have some time before your flight leaves, so you walk to a coffee shop and talk for a bit. An hour later, you realize you better start walking to your boarding gate. You don't want to miss your flight.
Say, goodbye, Maurice, in French. Très bien. Au revoir, Maurice.
Now, time to find that gate for Toulouse. Bon voyage!